We do. Okay, before I call the meeting to order, we got a lot of people here, so just want to appreciate everybody coming out. Everybody gets situated. We're going to probably be about 5 minutes late, starting about 6:35. Is when I'll call the meeting to order, let everybody get in, get situated. So, so with that, I think Linwood's running a little late. He should be here by 6:35. I see a 9 on the head. I don't want him coming in. We got a special ceremony going on, so we'll give him to 6:35 and we'll start the meeting. So you guys got pretty quiet there. You got 5 minutes to interact a little bit if you want to.
Is there a Reverend Michael from New Bethlehem?
Yeah. There he is.
Thank you.
Good. Oh, there's Mike.
Ronnie knows.
Yeah, Mike. Yes.
Had him at the tree lighting last year.
Yes, did.
What is it?
Schwartz
How my bad emergency is. We just thinking outside the box, and then he like, let's try it.
Yeah. I'm on.
Just kidding. Just kidding. Okay. What did you say, Ronnie?
Okay, I will call to order the Rolesville Board of Commissioners regular organizational meeting. This is a special meeting, December the 7th, 2025, December the 2nd, 2025. Just want to thank everybody in attendance. We had a good turnout tonight. Just appreciate everybody coming. We got some dignitaries here. I'm not going to name them by name, but I do know I see somebody from the NC Senate, somebody from the NC House, and several, commissioners, and some that wants to be future commissioners here. So we have a pretty good turnout in dignitaries, and appreciate you guys coming to Rolesville. Certainly do. Thank you much for that. We're going to start off the meeting, the organizational part, with the Pledge of Allegiance and invocation by Reverend Michael Ely from New Bethel Baptist Church. And we have a special honored guest here tonight. The Navy National Defense Corps from Rolesville High School is here, brand new group. I think this may be the first public appearance, maybe. So I want to welcome them, and they will do the color honors for us tonight. So if I would ask everybody to stand, allow them to come up front, and stay standing for the invocation if you would. Thank you.
Post the colors. Mark time. March. Colors. Talk. Present colors.
I pledge allegiance to the
Flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Michael, you would?
Let us pray together. Eternal and Almighty God, we pause at this secret moment of transition to acknowledge your presence. For unless you guide us, our efforts are in vain. Unless you bless us, our work cannot endure. Tonight, we gather for this meeting, a milestone that reminds us of where we have been and points towards where we're going. We thank you for the leaders, residents, and visionaries who have shaped this town with wisdom, sacrifice, and heart. Lord, bless the conversations we have tonight. Let clarity rise above confusion. Let unity rise above division. And hope rise above hesitation. Give us the courage to name what needs to be changed, the humility to honor what has been built, and the grace to work together as one community. We ask your favor upon Rolesville, upon family, business, schools, councilmen, and every person who calls this town home. Strengthen our partnerships, deepen our compassions, and guide our decisions so that justice, opportunity, peace are not just ideas, but lived experiences. As we move into a new chapter, grant us vision that sees beyond present moments, wisdom that builds for generations, and unity that reflects your love. Bless this meeting, bless this town, and bless every hand and heart committed to its future. We offer this prayer in your holy name. Amen.
Amen.
Order colors. Mark time. March. Forward. March.
What a great job they did. Thank you, Michael. Appreciate your words of wisdom there and holy guidance. Thank you for that. And special thanks to Honor Guard and all the people that's working with them for sure. They're all brand new. I mean, they don't have any seniors or people that's been in that organization before. They're all brand new. So what you're seeing tonight are really young people that's starting out there their mission out there at Rolesville High School. So I want to appreciate them for that, for sure. This is a time that, is good and it's bad. It's bad for us because we bonded with Commissioner Vilga for a long time. And he served a lot even before he was elected commissioner. Served the community in many, many ways. He led the fireworks effort, him and his wife, for several years there when we didn't have anybody leading. I don't think he was a commissioner at that time. Also worked very hard with the Parks and Rec and continue to work Parks and Rec on the board. And we're certainly going to miss him. So at this time, before we recognize him, I'm going to give the floor to Commissioner Vilga to say his words of wisdom.
Thank you. I figured I'd take as much time as I want to right now because I'll go 3 minutes after I leave here. So I had this in my mind. You know what? I was just like, I'm just going to write it down to be easier. I will read it to you. First, I want to thank God for the strength and my family for their sacrifice and support over the past 8 years. My family and I moved to Rolesville in 2012 with 4 kids aging a range of 9 to almost 2. Time sure does fly by. Today, our then almost 2-year-old is now a freshman in Rolesville High School. Go Rams. 2 are in college or working, and the oldest is a college graduate, married, working full-time, and has blessed us with our first grandchild, Evelyn May. Our family hit the ground running when we moved here. I coached several sports over 9 years, helped manage the town's 4th of July event through 4 years, and have represented our citizens for the past 8 years. Rolesville has definitely been a part of our lives for the past 13 years. Through 8 years of being a commissioner, I've missed 3 regularly scheduled meetings, 2 funerals, and 1 wedding. What makes me even prouder of that fact is that 7 months after my first term started, I had emergency gallbladder surgery and was diagnosed with kidney cancer, but missed no time due to either. I don't mention these things for pity, but rather to help hopefully show my commitment to this town through the last several years, and to also ask that you extend some of your grace to our commissioners. They are fathers and mothers, husbands and wives, sons and daughters, just like those that they represent. Having said that, I still expect the public to lean on them with your hopes, ambitions, and concerns when it comes to your town. Speaking of being a son, a one-off occurrence that I would like to share before I continue happened in the 2 years I spent as mayor pro tem. Back when we lived in West Virginia, I joked to my mom that one day I'll be mayor of a town. And the only night I believe Mayor Kerner's ever been had to be absent, I was asked to cover the meeting. In doing so, I feel like I honored the statement I made to my mom all those years ago by being mayor for Rolesville, even if it was for 1 meeting only. I regret that I will not be on the board through the celebration that will be our nation's 250th anniversary, but I will tie into the mindset using words that we all hold dear. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. What do these words mean to me when it comes to my tenure on this board? Life, protection of life through the installation of school zone signs and lighted crosswalks. Everyone deserves a safe path and school areas in their community. Liberty, through the start of our military banner program, the continuation of the 4th of July event in Rolesville, we celebrate our liberty and freedom and honor those who defend it and have sacrificed for it. Pursuit of happiness. I could say getting my Tuesday nights back, but I won't. To me, pursuit of happiness is seeing and enjoying all the nature that Rolesville has to offer. We always take the time to celebrate Arbor Day and plant new trees every year. Have installed 2 new pollinator gardens in Rolesville located in Town Hall and Redford Place Park. Have added the request for addition of pollinator gardens, greenways, and parkland to all new developments. Created the town's first official tree board, are continuing construction at the farm for it to be a place where we can all get outdoors and enjoy nature, and we definitely hold some of the best events in the area. You notice that a lot of the items I mentioned are parks and recreation related. I've spent the last 8 years with the honor of being the town's Parks and Recreation liaison. A special thanks to our Parks and Recreation staff and advisory committee who have worked with the vision of making Rolesville a great and natural area that everyone can enjoy. Rolesville is a 9-year Tree City USA member and also a part of the Mayor's Monarch Pledge. In closing, I'd like to thank the mayor and boards, past and present, town attorney, Rolesville town management and staff, and all the supporting elements that have helped make Rolesville what it is today. I thank the Rolesville citizens for their trust in allowing me to truly be a servant to the needs of this great town, and ask that everyone continue to work together to make our town even greater. Based on our family's prior work in town, I'm not too sure this is a goodbye, but rather until I see you again. May God bless us all and continue to bless the great town of Rolesville.
clerk to enter that, enter the words in the record. Is that okay with you?
Yeah, that's fine.
Like for-
Yep.
Thank you for touching. A few last comments I'm going to ask Commissioner Paul Field to come down and we're going to present a plaque to him. But most of these things he said is more than correct. He probably missed 100 things that he worked on. But some of the things I found most impressive, and I believe is very important for the commissioner to be, is someone to do their homework. And Paul always did his homework. He always knew what was going on. I see a lot of nod here. He did his homework. And it requires people to read up and understand there's things to do the homework. And he was dedicated. You mentioned that. Safety was one of his big things. And I think one of the things that we're going to miss Paul in is his communications. He was a big communicator to the public, keep the public informed. I think that was one of your priorities even before you came on board, was communicating to the public, and did a great job with that. And we certainly going to miss that. So if you would come down. Thank you. Just a little plaque in appreciation. It's to Paul Wilder for 8 years of service on the Board of Commissioners, 2 terms from 17 to 21 and 22 to 25. Thank you, Paul. Appreciate your hard work. Thank you. Everybody, move on. Let's get a picture.
Someone's hiding.
Split, switch. Split.
Yeah, we're gonna split. 1, 2, 3. All right, I always like to have a backup on my phone. 1, 2, 3. All right, you go.
Okay, this is great. At this point in time, we got a few swearing-in ceremonies to do. I just want to thank the judges for coming out. We actually got 2 judges here that want to do the swearing-in. The first one is sworn in will be Dan Austin, and I think then it's Jennifer, and then April. So I think Craig Crummy, Judge Craig Crummy, you want to swear Dan in, so if you would.
Yes, sir.
Good to see you. Thank you for coming.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Glad to be here. All right. And we have some questions. You're excited to see me. Yes. All right. Y'all all get a piece of the Bible. You will face the audience. One thing I always do whenever I minister an oath is I have you repeat every word, and I have you face the folks that you're making this promise to. Because a lot of times you want to face me. You're not making the promise to me, you're making it to the folks who are there. So if you repeat after me, and I'll read it slowly. I, your name,
I, Dan Tyrone Austin,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support
that I will support
and maintain
and maintain
the Constitution
the Constitution
and laws
and laws
of the United States
of the United States
and the Constitution
and the Constitution
and laws
and laws
of North Carolina,
of North Carolina,
not inconsistent therewith,
not inconsistent therewith,
and that I will faithfully
and I will faithfully
discharge
discharge
the duties
the duties
of my office
of my office
as Commissioner
as Commissioner
of the Town of
of
Rolesville.
the Town of Rolesville.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, sir. Those two are yours, okay? Madam Clerk will get what she needs.
thank you for coming out, Judge.
Oh, yes, glad to be.
I think you've been here before, so appreciate you coming out.
You locked in my GPS.
Yeah, and we got a second judge that's been here several times. I don't know how many, maybe you can remember. But she's done a lot of swearing in for us, and I want to ask her to come front. Judge Ashley Parker, if you would, come up front, and she will be swearing in Jennifer first. She's our newest elected official. So.
Good evening, everyone. It is such a pleasure to be here. Mayor, thank you so much for the invitation. Once again, it's also in my GPS as well. Mayor, Madam Clerk, and all council members, always a pleasure to be here. And I'm excited to swear you in. I will also have you face the people of which you will serve, and I will go slowly as well. All right, so if you please place your left hand on the Bible and raise your right, and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Jennifer Burnett,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support
that I will support
and maintain
and maintain
the Constitution
the Constitution
and laws
and laws
of the United States
of the United States
and the Constitution and laws
and the Constitution and laws
of North Carolina,
of North Carolina,
not inconsistent therewith,
not inconsistent therewith,
and that I will faithfully
and that I will faithfully
discharge the duties
discharge the duties
of my office
of my office
as Commissioner of the Town of Rolesville.
as Commissioner of the Town of Rolesville.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Judge, you can just stay there. Okay. Now, last but not least, is our Mayor Pro Tem April Sneed. She will be sworn in for a second term here. So. Actually, I think it's the third swearing in for April, I think, right? Did I have that right, April?
Yeah.
It is.
The third one?
So yes, this is my third time having the opportunity to swear in April. I was looking at my email, and it was 2020 was the first time she was
Yes.
appointed.
Yes.
One election in 2021, and girl, time flies.
Yes, it
Because
does.
here we are in 2025.
Yes.
And you can see I had a whole other baby since then. Thank you for your continued service to the citizens of Rolesville, and thank you again for offering me the opportunity to administer this oath. It is always an honor for me to do so. So if I can have you please place your left hand on the Bible and raise your right, and repeat after me, please. I state your name.
I, April Sneed,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support
that I will support
and maintain
and maintain
the Constitution and laws
the Constitution and laws
of the United
of
States
the United States
and the Constitution and laws
and the Constitution and laws
of North Carolina,
of North Carolina,
not inconsistent therewith,
not inconsistent therewith,
and that I will faithfully
and that I will faithfully
discharge the duties
discharge the duties
of my office
of my office
as Commissioner of the Town of
as
Rolesville.
Commissioner of the Town of Rolesville.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations for the third.
Thank you.
And Mr. Mayor, I believe that concludes my services until the next time.
Thank you, appreciate that. Thank you for coming out.
Always.
Hopefully you won't have another one by the time you get here.
You said what?
You won't have to bring another one by the time you get here.
Have another, oh, no. Oh, I also want to acknowledge our clerk of court is also here as well.
Yes, I recognize her. Thank you. Thank you for coming out for sure. Appreciate it. Always good to have you. At this point in time, it's a pretty important time in our an organizational meeting where we appoint a new mayor pro tem. And mayor pro tem is not one of my appointments by charter. I don't get to appoint by charter the mayor pro tem. By charter, it's a vote on the board. So actually, Mayor Pro Tem has to get the approval of the peers, really, to represent them as Mayor Pro Tem, and me as the mayor in case we need. Paul did it once before, as he mentioned, had to step up. So this is a time that the board will pick one from the board to be Mayor Pro Tem, and April is our current Mayor Pro Tem. So what I do at this time is I open the board up for nominations.
Okay. And I would like to nominate, make a motion to nominate Commissioner Dan Alston as our next Mayor Pro Tem.
Second that move.
Okay, so I got a motion and a second. Is there any other decision or any other discussion? Not hearing any, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say likewise. Ayes sound like they have, ayes do have it. Congratulations. So with that, the Mayor Pro Tem has to be sworn in, and Judge Kroon, I think you're going to swear him in.
Follow the instructions from report. All right. I, your name,
I, Dan Tyrone Austin,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support
that I will support
and maintain
and maintain
the Constitution
the Constitution
and laws
and laws
of the United States
of the United States
and the Constitution
and the Constitution
and laws
and laws
of North Carolina,
of North Carolina,
not inconsistent therewith,
not inconsistent therewith,
and that I will faithfully
and that I will faithfully
discharge
discharge
the duties
the duties
of my office
of my office
as Mayor Pro Tem of the town of Rolesville.
as Mayor Pro Tem of the town of Rolesville.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Okay. One last order of business in our organization, and then we'll take a quick break for you guys to take some pictures and things like that. But the last thing in organizational meeting is the mayor has some appointees to announce for the new board. It's a charter obligation that it gives me to be able to do. So I'm appointing April Sneed to be liaison to the Parks and Rec Board, taking place of Paul Vilga, which is going to be a hard chore.
Big shoes to fill.
Yes, but I'm sure April will do a great job, and she's got the passion to do that. Lemon Long is going to be a liaison to the Planning Board, selecting Jennifer Burnett to be liaison to Public Safety, Dan T. Austin liaison to Veterans Affairs again, and Michael Paul liaison to Senior Citizens. So I think those people have a lot of good passion for these positions, and I think they'll do a good job. Some of the chair appointees, Downtown Development Association, Michael Paul was on there as director, appointing him to continue that role. I'm the ex officiator on that. On the Budget Committee this year, Michael Paul will serve as a chair. Lemon Long will serve with him on the Budget Committee. Nominating committee. We do these nominating committees the first of every year. And so these committees will serve 2 years of nominating people for the boards. For the planning board, Lynn Long would chair that with Michael Paul. Planning board, April Sneed would chair with Jennifer Burnett. Board of Adjustments, Dan T. Austin will chair that along with myself. And then we don't really need a tree board this year, I think, committee, because I think all those people are good. Nobody's rotating off. It's a pretty new board. I am signing a new committee that's going to be a one-function committee. It's a design committee for our Veterans Park. So it's a special committee to help with design of the park. And the names on that committee will be Dan T. Austin is going to chair that committee. Pam Eagles from the Garden Club is going to be on that committee. Joe Grimm, he's a 911 organizer. Randy Bright, Veterans Memorial in Wake Forest, will be on there helping us. And also Harriet Stephenson. She, as some of you may know, she runs the volleyball facility out there, owner and operator of the volleyball facility. But she also is a 911 responder. She was actually there that day of 9/11. So she will serve on there. And we probably will get a Wake County Public Schools maybe person, if you guys can help me with that, Don, or somebody you want to help with that, being that your building will be close to that Veterans Park. And well, hopefully we can get somebody on there from the schools or that knows what that building is going to be like out there. Then lastly, some of the regional things. I usually serve as a delegate to these organizations, but I do need an alternate on each one. So North Carolina League of Municipalities, Lynn Long Jr. will be the alternate. Central Pines Regional Council, Dan T. Austin is the alternate to that. And then the Capital Area Metropolitan Planning Organization, which we call CAMPO, Michael Paul will be alternate to that. So just want to thank these people for serving. This is just extra duties that they volunteer to do. One thing about the board I'm always very pleased with, we get a group of commissioners that works hard, and don't mind working, and don't mind serving the community to try to get some things done good for our community. And they do a good job when they get these assignments, and these are official assignments. So I just appreciate y'all working on all of them. So thanks a lot for that. So with that, I'm going to take a 10-minute recess, and we will come back and finish our business and start with just the agenda approval. So with that, I will take a 10-minute recess without any opposition, not hearing any. We're in recess for 10 minutes. Thank you.
Everybody.
Okay, okay, board, we're going to get back. We're going to miss Dan and not Dan's back, but I think we're going to miss. I think we're going to miss Paul for sure. He was one of us that kept us on track and not late. So you know.
Mr. Mayor, I would gladly do that for us.
Okay, all right. You're going to be the new person to keep us on track. So we got a few items of business we have to do tonight. So we're going to try to get through those, and then we'll get everybody out of here to celebrate for sure. One of the items is review the agenda, see if there's any additions or changes. You got the agenda in front of you. What's the pleasure of the board?
So moved.
All right, got a motion to approve the agenda. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any other discussion? Not hearing any. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Sounds as if the ayes have it. Ayes do have it. The motion is approved. So thank you, board, for that. Now it's the time for the public to be heard. Individual wishing to speak during the public is invited to be heard in this proceeding and is encouraged to be prepared. An individual will be limited to 3 minutes. Within written comments are welcome and should be given to town clerk before the start of the meetings if you want some written comments. I think one of we have here is Steve Rowe from Marshville, and come up, Steve, and introduce yourself. Good to see you in town again.
Yeah, exactly. And first of all, Councilmember Rao, for the record, town of Morrisville, city councilman, 14 years, mayor pro tem for 2. Congratulations, Mayor pro tem Alston. And I actually did have this on my GPS, but my GPS wasn't connecting to my Apple Card. So I actually been here so much, I came here, I remembered how to get here. So, but I just want to say, I just came today to just give you 2 minutes of just to, December 9th is my last city council meeting in Morrisville for 14 years. And it's been one of the greatest chapters of my life. And I knew Mayor Curran from when we served on the Triangle J Central Pine Regional Council. And one of the things I'm so grateful for is the relationships that I've been able to build across the county. And I think we often forget how important regional collaboration is. So that's my only words of encouragement and wisdom is just, continue to collaborate with your governments across the county. I have a lot of ideas about technology and innovation because I think AI and technology is moving so fast that we can share those best practices with towns like Rolesville. And I think, I've got some ideas on that. But I really wanted to make this about just thanking each of you for your service. This is such a great town. When I come out here, I just can't believe how much it's grown. I hope I can continue to serve, but it's been a great honor to have everyone on this board is a friend of mine. I just met Jennifer. Hopefully she'll become a friend soon. And I want to get to know Mr. Paul better. But it's been great to be a part of this journey. So just want to wish you a happy holidays. I want to just thank you for letting me be here today for this great moment and keep doing great work for Rolesville. And thank you for working with me in the last years of my service in Morrisville. It's been a chapter in my life I'll never forget. So thank you.
Thank you, Steve. Thanks for coming out. One last thing. I think your last name stands for something. What does it stand for?
But the 3, I'm running to be the new commissioner of Wake County, but I'm running for the 3 letters of my name. R is for results. If you go through Morrisville, you look at all the great things we've going on. Cricket, roads, bridges, transportation, schools, dog park, everything. And it didn't happen by accident, took action. And listened to residents, worked with my colleagues and elected officials around the region. And then if you add action to promises, you get O, opportunity. So RAO is a spaghetti sauce as well. And I joke often that I want to turn Rolesville into Rouseville. So, it's like stand-up comedy with Steve Radnett. But that's what RAO stands for. And I hope that I can bring RAO to the Board of Commissioners.
Thank you. Thank you, Steve. Thank you for coming out tonight. Okay, and now George Garcia. You got a few words you want to talk about, George? Come on up. We know you, we know where you live, but state your name and address for the record.
George Garcia, 524 Averett Road. We appreciate that you all put those 35-mile-an-hour signs coming into Jones Dairy and into our area. You had the speed sensor there, and it's not there anymore. I guess it was malfunctioning, and it would be nice to have it because people still don't recognize the 35. A lot of people have slowed down, but others fly by, especially people who are not familiar with the area, and you hear them, folks coming out of Jones Dairy, making a ride into Rolesville, folks coming in from 98 Highway flying, and you hear the horns blaring. If they were doing a speed limit, there would be ample room for them to slow down, but someone's going to get hurt. So if you can put that up again, we greatly appreciate it. I know you had some malfunctions with the one you had there.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, George.
And the reason being is we had someone get killed in our house about 10 years ago.
I remember that. Thank you, George. Yeah, I guess one thing, maybe take a note, or, you know, even I got a letter today from one of the residents up there, new residents in Elizabeth Springs. We probably need to look at that whole Averitt Road and see if we have authority to put 35 on that whole road, because it's getting a lot of houses on there. And being that we don't have both sides, I'm not sure if we can do that or not, but, and it's always been a long time request for Old Pierce Road. Some people have been killed on Old Pierce Road too, and I know Rick Edens has always advocated for 35 on there, but we can't control that one because that's outside of the town. So take a state doing that.
Mr. Mayor, would that also be a good place for like the digital, or maybe ask the police on that? Would it be a good place for a digital sign that shows the speed as well as to give that variation of speed to kind of, is that what he's referring to?
Are you talking about a permanent one? Or?
I'm referring to a permanent one.
Yeah,
you know.
I've seen those permanent ones. We could talk about that. Take a note of that, Chief, if you don't mind. We can certainly talk about that. That may be a good place because I'm not even sure people drive 45 down there. So thank you, George. Thank you for bringing this up. Yeah, I'll allow you to speak. Come up and state your name and address.
My name is Mike Gibbons, 204 Kavanaugh Road, and I'll sign a speaker card when I'm done. In the next few months, you guys are going to be making some decisions regarding a zoning issue, Atticus Woods, which borders Kavanaugh Road.
Yeah.
The neighborhood has some ideas and comments and concerns that we'll be sharing with you in writing between now and those zoning hearings and when the issue comes back before you. We're not trying to stop it, but we are concerned about a couple of things that are going on. And you don't have the rendering in front of you, so I'm not going to go into a lot of detail. But in the most recent rendering, when we had a meeting with the developer, the most recent rendering shows Classical Way coming through the 28-acre commercial plot and emptying onto Kavanaugh Road, which is, that's going to create a lot of traffic in Kavanaugh Road. You know, people coming up 98, coming home, coming here, they're not going to wait to get through the light at Averitt and 98. They're going to turn right on Classical Way, come right down into Elizabeth Springs, left on Kavanaugh, and then head on home. So we have some concerns about those kinds of issues in terms of how that would affect the safety and the atmosphere of our neighborhood. Again, it's a 28-acre commercial plot. There's a large residential area next to it, and I know you have this connectivity concept, and we understand that, and don't want to argue about that, but it doesn't seem like that connectivity ought to apply, connecting a 28-acre commercial plot with a grocery store and a gas station, all of those kinds of things. That connectivity emptying right into a large residential area seems like we ought to be able to come up with a better solution than that.
Okay. Well, thank you. What was your name again?
Mike Gibbons.
Mike Gibbons. Thank you for coming out, Mike. Yeah, we've had some.
I've put in a kind of report of concern on the website, and the neighbors will be doing the same, just to give you guys something that you can look at so that it's not all just conversation.
Yeah, we've had Laura Baker and some others reach out from that neighborhood up there. Do Elizabeth Springs have a homeowner association and a president?
Yes.
Maybe we need to have them contact us, the president, because usually we work better through association. Okay. Thank you. Appreciate that. All right. So with that, thank you everybody that came to speak tonight. I appreciate you doing that very much. Next item is the consent agenda. We have several items on there. First one is the minutes from the November 6, 2025 meeting, the adoption of scheduled meetings for 2026. You'll notice we took a few of the work sessions out, especially during the summertime, so I think it's going to be a much better schedule for everybody, staff included. I think the staff was kind of recommending that also. So there's a little bit of changes there. The restricted covenants on Pierce Land is another one. City of Raleigh Parks and Recreation sewer easement. Authorize one additional police officer and adopt a policy ordinance amendment on that. Approval of interlocal agreement between Wake County and public municipal parties for professional degree program. The 25-26 budget amendment. Everybody saw that. It's not a very big thing there. And the Main Street LAP project, which is a bigger one there. So, and we're going to have some more discussion with the Main Street budget amendment later. Do we need to pull that one, or is that a little different that needs to still stay in the Senate agenda?
That will be up to you all on that. I'll still explain it out. If you have questions about it, then you can save it for that time. And
let's save it for that time. So we'll pull the last one out of the consent agenda then, and we'll discuss it. Okay. So, so with that, is any more naturally the board wishes, if they prefer to discuss any of the other items separately, we will pull those and vote on it separately. We are pulling the very last one, Main Street LAP project, out, and we will have a discussion from the manager and vote on that separately. So what's the wishes of the board on the consent agenda?
I move to approve the consent agenda with 10 Alpha through 10 Golf, pulling 10 Hotel for later discussion.
Okay. So I got a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Got a motion second. Any further discussion? Not hearing any. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Not hearing any. Sounds like the ayes have it. Ayes do have it. Motion is approved. Thank you for the consent agenda. The staff reports, we're not going to, we got two staff reports. Tonight was trying to make it a little bit more efficient. So we got two staff reports that is by memo only. Economic planning development, or economic development report, and also the planning department report. Both of them are very good reports. So if you hadn't had a chance to look at those reports, maybe take a look at them. They're very, very good detailed reports. Hope the public gets to see them too, because sometimes I think the public could use looking at some of these reports and using it for some of the things they think about. So with that, we just have one old business that we just discussed, is the capital project, Main Street project budget amendment, and I'll turn it over to you, Town Manager Eric, if you would, take off with it.
Yes, sir. Thanks so much, Mr. Mayor and Town Board. Just wanted to chat with you about the budget amendment for the Main Street project. That project is referred to as a LAP project that supports the Main Street improvement plan, division plan. That's loosely referred to as a U6241. Just for the sake of public information, this is a federally funded project that is that we are locally administering, essentially on behalf of NCDOT. And so this is something that's typical within the region. This is the project that has been going on for the last 18 months. We've reached a significant amount of completion with the project, and so we're moving into what we refer to as the closing phase of the project. Majority of the work for the project has been completed. There's no more subsurface work that needs to be done outside of about 45 feet of storm that's located at the new connection of New Burlington Mills Road. The focus of this project is to create a safe, multimodal, connected placemaking experience in our downtown corridor. And so this update comes before you. It's something that we have been planning to do for some time. And so when we started at the onset of the project, first of all, the screens are not working. And so that's why I printed the memo to put in front of you. And so I'm explaining it more so by dialogue since the screens are not working. At the onset of the project, when it was approved in 2000, when the plans were approved in 2018, and then we broke ground and initiated the project in 2021, we knew that there would be some prices, be it availability or inflationary factors that will cause the project to increase in its cost over time. Anytime you have a project that starts in the planning phase and you move into construction 3 years later, and then construction goes on for 2 years, you see the costs go up in that. And another thing that's typical to specifically municipal and infrastructure projects is that you find stuff once you start opening up the ground, right? And that is something that did happen with this, which is typical to all projects. And so the federal funding that we received for this project came via CAMPO. The mayor mentioned this earlier, and it's the municipal planning organization that we work with to help facilitate and receive federal funding to come through and fund these large infrastructure projects that if they did not give it to us, we would not be able to do. And so it's tailored to all municipalities, but urban, rural communities, and particularly very heavily on that money. At the initiation of it and the receipt of those federal funds, we knew that there would be a time that we would have to come back to them and ask for an additional amount of money to cover the expenses that we encountered throughout the project. And so our agreement with CAMPO when it comes to these federal funds is that it's a $23 million project. We knew that it would increase by so much depending on what we found in the field, and that we would be reimbursed for that at a rate of 80% to 20%. And so CAMPO would reimburse us for 80% of it, but we would still have to pay 20%. But the path in which we do that is that we have to pay our contractors for the work, right? And so this budget amendment is to transfer money from our general fund into the project budget. The amount of money that needs to shift is $3.4 million, which is not a very small amount of money, but again, it's an amount of money that was planned. The reasons that we saw the increase of the project, all of these, again, typical outside of one, I would say, outlier factor, which is the water lines or utility conflicts. And so when we talk about utility conflicts, we're talking about in the GIS system, anytime somebody builds a development, the final plans or the as-builts go into the GIS system. And so that if somebody comes back and they do a locate, when you call on a locate, that's the most recent project that was done in that area. They have submitted GIS information for the location of water lines, sewer lines, fiber lines, telephone lines, be it Bell South, Spectrum, Ting, all of the above. Because this was the first project of this nature in our area, and we transitioned into being a merger community and such, and we did not have a lot of infrastructure mapped. We found early on in the project that there would be there were utility conflicts, so we had to proactively do a lot of potholing, digging of holes, and physically locating these things, because once we started going through to relocate the water lines, some of them were not where they were supposed to be. And so they would be 2 feet east or 2 feet west or 18 inches more shallow than planned. You're thinking is at 32 inches, and it's really like right underneath the surface of the road. So those are things that we ran into. Upgrading the water system, that is something that we are all familiar with. We summed up as the water line, the Great Water Line issue. And so that is something that we have to pay for. Again, the as-built, and then the other two things that came up throughout the project were contaminated soil, and that was located in 2 spots. One of those was within the temporary parking lot. The other was roadside. What we did not know was that there was a gas station a very, very long time ago adjacent to where Suzanne's Antiques resides now, and that soil would need to be removed. And so that was not something that showed up in historical information. That was something we actually was verified verbally after we discovered it by a longtime resident here. Was like, yeah, my family did own a gas station there. That would have been great information to know. And then the last thing that contributed to additional cost, well, the second to last thing was being very intentional around flagging and signage, which is the light boards, to ensure that we were maintaining access for residents and businesses as we continue to coordinate. At the initiation of the project, and when the initial planning of the project, we've had so much more people that have moved here since 2018, 2019. And also we knew that in real time that we would have to be responsive to the concerns and desires of the community. And so we had put a lot of effort into that. And the one thing that's not listed, which is general information, is inflation. And so we saw that a lot of the materials shortages and the prices on steel goods, steel and metal goods and availability due to having to use things that are American made and such drove some of those costs up. And all of these things resulted in additional time, additional effort, which translates to money, and also additional cost for those things. And so that amount, the difference between the amount that we had budgeted for the overall project budget and what we believe will be the cost to complete the project is $3.4 million. And so that will be the amount of money we need to move from the general fund to the project budget. Of that $3.4 million, we're anticipating $2.3 million of that money to be reimbursed to us. That is via the city of Raleigh, through borderline repairs, and also through Campo, and also through ongoing work through the Walbrook development. That is also, they're paying 100% of the work through that. And so they reimburse us for expenses that are for that. And so the gap that we will we'll see as far as this amount of money that we're moving over, that $1.1 million is something that we anticipated within that, and is largely absorbed through what we would have intended to be happen when it comes to our contingency as well. And so even though this number is large, and I do not take this money lightly at all, it is something that we plan and it is expected. The only major expenses to the project were around utility conflict that were unexpected, were utility conflicts, which were not very substantial, but did make an impact on the project. But the most substantial thing that we saw in the project was the water line replacement that needed to happen, which essentially turned into a project within the project. And we have an interlocal agreement with the city of Raleigh, and they will be reimbursing us for 100% of the hard cost that are connected to that. The hard costs for the water line replacement come up to about $1.18 million. But then there are tangential costs to that we're working with, that we're coming up with that number to put into the interlocal agreement to continue working with the city of Raleigh on that. And that'll come up to about, it'll be $1.8 million when it comes to all of the things that are connected to the water line replacement. Some of those things were planned, and also some of those things will be paid for by NCDOT, because there are some things that were related to water and sewer that were outside of the road travel surface, or were inside of the road travel surface, or were considered to be betterment. And so those things that are things that we're working with DOT to get reimbursed for as well. And so I say that to you because even though that amount is 1.1, we are working to see if we can get approval for more of that to be reimbursed as far as that gap. And that's something that we'll be working with Campo on, and also continue to work with DOT on. What we've seen is anything, Campo relies heavily on DOT for approving things. And so the more we work with Raymond, the more we work with DOT, anything that DOT essentially says is reimbursable, Campo will say yes. Okay, DOT says it's reimbursable, and so we will be reimbursing you for that. I've had a pre-conversation with Campo to get an idea of what their expectations are as far as reimbursement, and they have mentioned, they told me verbally that this is normal for them, and they don't consider the overage on this project to be substantial and something to have to go back to their board, and they believe that it'll be something that can be approved for reimbursement at the staff level. And so anything that's under $4 million, we're not at that threshold that will agree to continue to reimburse us for the originally approved ratio of 80-20. And then after the 80-20, they said they may go 50-50 on certain things. And so there's just an ongoing conversation we're having with them. And I wanted to be more verbose about it because I don't consider this to be a small amount of money. And also it's not something that we wanted to just kind of skate by on a consent agenda. And so I wanted to see if you all had any questions about it. Or I know I've talked with each one of you about it individually ahead of this, so you would not be surprised. But if there's a question you already asked me in my informing you about it, that you want me to talk about it to the community as well, we can do that. And we're also open to anyone that may reach out or send me emails about it as well.
So yeah, I got a couple questions. So this numbers, overrun numbers, does that include right-of-way acquisitions and all the money we spent for right-of-way acquisitions and stuff like that?
So this is not, the settlements, so the right-of-way acquisition, there's some that we completed within the project that are included in the project budget, but there are the things that are happening outside of it through litigation are not included in this.
Should they be?
Am I answering your question?
Yeah, I think so. So they're not included.
And not included in this number? No, sir.
Should they be, Mr. Mayor? Is that something that should they be, Dave?
It's probably a finance director question. I don't know the answer to that.
Yeah. Yeah, I would like to know, because at some point in time, and I guess it could go either way.
Yeah.
But I just want it visible.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
I want to know what that number is. And
Okay,
it's
we
included
can make
in the
that, we can make that more
If
apparent.
it's included in 1.1 million, that's good, because really, I guess my comment on it, if I hear you, our overruns could be as much as $1.1 million at the end of the day for the project to be delayed where it is.
Yes.
So to me, I was expecting more than that, because we had to put the temporary road in, and we
Yeah,
had to
that's
build-
included in the non-reimbursable amount. And so that temporary road was about 680, I think the number is 680 something $1,000 for that. And, but that's also something that we're, again, working
Yeah.
to get partially reimbursed for. But yes, and so that's included in non-reimbursable amount. But I say that yes to that, and there were already planned expenses that would be non-reimbursable. And so we took all that into account, the things that we would not get reimbursed for, into the overarching project, and then our CIP portfolio as well.
Yeah, and we did a
greater
lot of things to
CIP.
help emergents down there with extra signage and boards.
Yes.
All that kind of stuff that.
Yes, but the signage there were so one thing that we were trying to do with some of the support we provided to the local businesses you mentioned was to not impact the project budget with that. And so a majority of those things were paid for out of the economic development budget. And so they're connected to the project, but our goal is to keep expenditures of that nature, if we can budget it from like an economic development standpoint, is to keep it from going into the number for this project and inflating that, because that's not something we will be reimbursed for. And we didn't want it to come back to Campo that there were all these non-reimbursable things. So we did a lot of those things outside of the project budget on paper, and did it through the economic development budget or our communication and marketing budget for the signage. So some of the wayfinding, some of the things we did with Cuts and Curls, and things of that nature. Now, the light up boards were within the project. So the things that says Main Street open, Main Street closed, the digital boards, those were included inside the project.
Yeah. So my last comment, and we'll see if we got any from the board. You talked about this exact numbers under discussion. When will we know the numbers from City of Raleigh and the numbers from Campo, particularly those two big ones?
It'll be this week.
It'll be when?
It'll be this week.
Oh, it'll be this week?
Yeah, it'll be this week. And so we've been working with Josh. We have the hard numbers. And so the thing that we're trying to do is look at, even though we have multiple things happening in the project, they're all pulling off the same line items. And so we'll have a pay item for moving dirt. It's 4 different things. We have a cobblestone side, we have a wall brick side, we have a reimbursable part of the project, and we have a non-reimbursable part of the project, all 4 of them pulling from the same line item. And so we're just trying to make sure we're pulling out these things and we're not indirectly inflating the amount of money that we go back to the city of Raleigh for, or we go to NCDOT for. And so it's really important we keep the money very, very tight since it's federally funded as well. And so we'll know kind of like that final number. The main thing we're trying to figure out now is the distribution of the reimbursable and how can we keep pushing for things to be reimbursed. We do know that the cost to complete the project is going to be 26.4. Like that's our cost to complete, 26.4. And so when we look at the overages in certain line items, and then we're looking at the underruns in certain areas, because there's certain things we haven't used as much of, 26.4 is that number we're landing at as far as this will be the anticipated total cost of the project. Now the reimbursables, we're trying to make sure we get as reimbursed for as much as possible, but that's where we believe we're going to be landing. And so that's the hard number on the cost to complete the whole project.
So I guess clarity for the board and also the citizens too, and this may be an Amy question, is what was our number to start with that was the town was funding? So I imagine it's you're looking at 1.1 million over whatever that number was years ago, right?
Right.
So what was that number years ago? So
I'll have to give you a breakdown on that. Because within that $26 million, there's a part of it that's not reimbursable. There's a part of it that amount that we did at a 1-to-1 ratio, like we did work on behalf of the Walbert development, and then they reimbursed us for it.
Yeah.
But that's included in this overall project expense. So we were reimbursed for that work from essentially just past the light here, Burlington Mills back, which would have, because they were able to get it done by us instead of doing it themselves, it was just ease at a 100% rate, right? But then there's an 80-20 split in there, and so we'll work on getting you like a diagram that kind of shows what we're going to end up paying, what we plan on paying, and then what it looks like now. We work on getting a graphic for that.
Yeah, I know there's a lot of numbers back then, and Amy may remember. It seemed like to me it was like $4.3 million was our cost for the $23 million project.
That's where
so now it's 1.1 more than that, so that's like 20%, 25%, which is probably not a bad number, being it was overrun for 18 months or whatever.
Yeah.
So, but I think the board would like to see that at some point in time. What did it change from, and what did it change to?
So I have a question for you, and maybe this is what you were referring to about later this week, but that 2.3 million that we're looking to be reimbursed, how quickly does that tend to happen? Like, are we gonna be waiting,
No.
a year for the money? Or does it tend to happen?
No. So what we do on a monthly basis is we do the pay application where we get the invoices and the work from the different contracts and subcontractors on the project. We pay them, and then Amy and them, they go directly behind and they submit for reimbursement from NCDOT through the portal. And so as we're paying out, we're also getting reimbursed.
Okay, so it's like a monthly.
Okay.
And
so what we want to do now is move this money over so that we can go ahead and have that money in place for the completion of the project, so we don't go past the project budget. Because what happens is we come to you all for a budget ordinance amendment that says this is how much the project will cost. We can't take money from anywhere else without you all's permission. And so we can't move money from our general fund. We can't move money from project to project of a certain amount without getting your approval. So we're literally coming back to say we need to move money from this checking account to that checking account so that we can pay this out, right? And that's me putting it in a more like if you're doing personal banking, but it's just way more money by volume.
So I guess you was talking about DOT. I think our question may have been the total. So City of Raleigh could be later than that, right? City of Raleigh, we don't know when they will.
They are waiting on us and they will get it put onto their agenda. So as soon, so the draft interlocal agreement is complete. David's been working on them with that. And so what we've been working on our end is what that final number in there and then supporting documentation behind it. Because I work directly with the water department, but as we kind of move it up for approval, there needs to be more explaining behind that. And so making sure the documentation is there and the narrative behind the journey of the project and such is there too is important. And so as soon as we get it done, it'll get slotted on their agenda. And so they're waiting on that. We've been working together and we're trying to get it done as soon as possible. But until we had the cost of completion and we knew that we were fully done with all the work related to it, we didn't know, have the number to be able to put into that. We want to wait until we got all the work done on the water lines.
So Eric, with the 3.4 million that you're basically asking us to move out of the general fund, if we do that, will that adversely impact any other projects that we have?
No, it will not.
Okay, so we'll get reimbursed before we ever need that for something else?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I think I asked you this question earlier before. The 80% that's given back to us, that could possibly be more, correct? Is that potential?
So the 80%, I'm trying to figure out how to explain it. The 80% will not be more.
Okay.
It'll be 80-20.
Okay.
Right now, with some of the change orders, we've done the work and we have to submit those for approval to DOT to be qualified for reimbursement. And so as we do this work, like we know, like, okay, they had to go with a different kind of control valve on a sewer line or a water line. We know that that's something that's approved, but in its current state is something that we have executed that has not been approved for reimbursement yet. And so what we want to do is be transparent on there are some things that we're still having conversations about, but with every passing week, those things kind of get checked off. Like like if you see a queue like of things being yellow and they turn red, like your pizza's done, or in a graph, there are certain things that we're still getting approved by DOT that were not in the original project via change orders that still need to be approved. One of those things is the French drains, right? We've had to go with a different kind of French drain. We look at it and we say we believe that this will be something they'll reimburse us for. And then we say, let's go ahead and proceed with the work. And then we proceed with the work, we submit it, and then they say, okay, yes, that's cleared. So that's a real-time example of something that costs about $160,000 that we had to change, make a field revision on to get it sooner than later because it was delayed by so much. And we know it's the same type of product, but we can't say we'll get reimbursed for it because we don't want to speak for them until they tell us we are. And so there are things that we're working with them to continue to get cleared to get reimbursed for. But we've been intentional on not taking on a lot of risk in that. So there are certain things that we're just not doing until they approve it.
So they're in an unreimbursable column until they get checked over to the.
Yes, and so there are some that are in it that are currently considered to be non-reimbursable that we're working to get them to reimburse us for. But there are things that we knew at the beginning of the project we were not getting reimbursed for as well. Mm-hmm. Right.
Other questions?
Yes. Are we completely done with this project before we pay our contractors?
So, no, we will not be completely done with the project before we pay the contractors because we're required to pay them within like 45 days of completing the work. And so irregardless of how the reimbursement goes, we have to pay them. Like we pay people for the work they complete, right? And so if it's something that is not extraneous or far outside of the contract and they do the work, we pay them for it. And so because we're getting reimbursed for the expenditures of the project, then the project will be done before we have all our money reimbursed by way of the nature of being reimbursed for the work. Just me answering it technically, but
understand.
But what we do with every single project is we have something that we retain that hinges on the warranty and the the successful completion of it. And so there's a retainage that's built into it. There's a certain amount of money that we will not pay out until everything is closed out. And so that's that insurance piece that happens with all projects, no matter how big they are.
Yeah, I think another question, not directly follow up with Dan, but this 3.4, we've got about 5 months left, I believe.
Yes, sir.
Right, about 5-6 months left. You don't see no need to come back to change this to a higher number. This 3.4 should cover the complete end of it. And then at 3.4, we get reimbursement down to 1.2.
Yes, sir.
You don't see any
it reflects.
additional.
We don't have any more subsurface work to do. We're at a place where all of the utilities are moved, all the water, all the sewer. The only subsurface work that needs to be done now is something that we proactively paid Duke Energy to do. So they'll be installing street lights, right?
When are they supposed to do that?
So Duke Energy will start on street lights on the 8th, and they're anticipating it being completed by the 17th.
That's all along, isn't it?
And so
December, right?
yeah, on the 17th of,
When did you say completion?
December the 17th.
Thank you.
And so our main street is split between two service providers when it comes to power. Our residents know that, but, and so about halfway up through the project, we're starting on the Walbrook end, that's Wake Electric. Wake Electric, they are going to install their own conduit, and they're going to install their own light poles. We've worked on the design because we have similar light poles, street lights being used on both sides. And so they'll look the same, even though if you look really close, they'll be different because they don't carry the same product. They'll be starting they said the 3rd week of December and going into the latter part of December. That's Wake Electric. That's on the Walbrook side.
Okay, so Wake Electric, so the December 8th through 17th, that is.
That's Duke. And so that is at the Main and Young intersection. And so they're going to start on the north side and go south. They had their pre-con meeting on today, was yesterday or today with that. One thing that I was discussing with them is how they're going to do it. They typically want to install all the poles and kind of hit the switch on everything at once. But they're going to start doing it section by section. And so what we'll see poles installed, but then maybe the corner in front of
Suzanne?
In front of Suzanne's will turn on, but then a few days later, the corner in front of the temporary parking lot will turn on. But they said that they will be done with the work phase-wise by December the 17th.
So it's possible to have that done by the 14th in that downtown area?
They said the 17th.
17th, that's going to be active. Okay.
Yeah, because we do have, we have the mingle
That's
on
the
May.
14th.
So there may be some on.
It is really dark up there
Yes,
at night.
and that's why I told them to phase it in. And so there will be
concerns me.
some on by then,
Okay.
but they said all of them will be on by the 17th.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's good. That's good, because it'd be good to have that intersection by the 14th.
Yes.
4 to 14th.
So let me ask one question about those lights being put in. What does that mean as far as traffic? Are they gonna have to close one lane down to put the light poles and all that?
They're not. And so what we did at the Main and Young intersection in particular is that we ran the conduit for them. And so all the places that you see a cone and you see gray like PVC pipe coming out of the ground, kind of like coming up across, that's where they'll go. And so it'll be minimally invasive. And in the places where they'll have pavers, they'll go ahead and set that at a certain height, but they can adjust that base to go up and down.
Okay. Well, if Paul was here, he'd be squirming about now.
Yeah,
Finish this thing up.
Well, no, I had one more question though, and one more of a statement than a question. And the statement is based upon what you said about paying out the contractors up front, and then we keep a portion. I just want to make sure I understood that.
Yeah, we
keep
hold a
portion
retainage. That's something we do in every single thing, even like when we did the upfit of this chambers, for example. It's a smaller amount of money, but we retain between 3 and 5% of that money to where once we go through your punch list and we get everything done, then you get that distribution. And so that's something that all of the contractors they plan on, and they anticipate, and that is until we get through the punch list, you don't get the final check.
Just based upon the experience with this project, we need to be holding those contractors accountable.
Yes, sir.
And we need to hold them accountable beyond just the dollar and cents in a time frame. We need to make sure we stay on them. So with that being said, are there checks and balances in place today with these particular contractors so that way we can kind of hold them accountable to that?
Yes, sir.
Then my second question is, and this is probably something we can take offline in the spirit of time, do we build in buffers like this in our projects for going forward? For instance, the farm, town hall, if we start these projects, they're going to be 2 years out. Or should we not build in buffers that we won't have to come back to the board for this type of?
Yes, and so we build in contingency. So I can give you all a line item list. There's contingency on infrastructure, that's 15%, and there's contingency on engineering and services, that's 5%. And then there's other places in the project where you look at how much kind of like risk there is, it's 10%. And so infrastructure is more unpredictable. You go out, you dig a hole, you have less confidence in that than if you go to, for instance, you need to get somebody to do an appraisal. The appraisal is going to be a certain cost. You know, it's going to be a flat rate. It's typically going to be between $2,000 and $2,400. And so you put a contingency on that of 5%. But when it came to the infrastructure, we have contingency built in there that we've already accounted for in the project budget. That is, I think, is 15% on certain infrastructure line items. And so we build in the potential for things to go increase over time into the project, and also the I don't want to say the risk, but the unknowns that goes along with doing certain subsurface exploration with work. And so it's cooked in there, but in this case, we've had certain things that were more extraneous, and so with soil removal and water lines and things of that nature.
And then the accountability to the project management of it, we can take that afterwards, but I definitely want to stay on top of that.
Yes.
Yeah, I second that one.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Any other questions?
Just one real fast question. With Wake Electric, you said, so on the other opposite side of the road, they're planning on, did you say the third week?
The third week. And so Duke Energy said that they will be starting on the 8th, and all the conversations, so that's the second week. And Wake Electric said they'll be starting mid-third week. They have a meeting on tomorrow, I think, a field meeting on tomorrow to do their final kind of pre-construction final walk in order for them to give this is our start date and our hard stop date on that. But I think they're all planning to be done by their holiday breaks because they don't want to be leaving anything work open.
Oh, so they wanted, so even Wake Electric?
They both want to be done, yeah. Yes.
Any other question? I think to wrap it up, if my understanding, this amendment agreement is it's not asking for an increase in our general budget. It's asking to move $3.4 million from one line item in the budget to another line item in the budget.
It's from the general fund. It'll move from the general fund to the project budget.
To move the money from one item general fund to another. I think if the board does approve this, I think hearing some of the comments from the board, I would like for maybe the January meeting to come back and give us the answers to the questions of what the total cost was to us from the original. I'm thinking it was like 4.3 million to what it's projected now. Maybe an update on the when should we see the reimbursements, extra reimbursements finalized, the numbers on that. And what was the other thing? It was another one that we kind of was asking for. Make sure we get maybe review and make sure in the January meeting that we get a clear answer on
Yes.
on
So
these things.
just so you know, we in the approved calendar for next year, there is a third meeting in January that'll take place on the 13th of January. That is our CIP work session. And so our plan is to give, we're going to walk through, Davenport will be here, and we'll walk through the whole CIP portfolio And what we'll include in that is look at the financials for this, which is one of our most expensive projects to date. And so we can walk through that inside of that second meeting in January.
Right.
And that'll allow ample time for question and answer. That'll be the only thing that we talk about during that time, all CIP. And that'll keep that first meeting of January from inflating too much. And we can make sure we have all the answers for you on there.
So I will, at that, make consideration of the board for this amendment. What is the pleasure of the board?
Mr. Mayor, I move to approve the capital project ordinance for lab grants funds dated December 2nd, 2023, to be moved from general funds over today.
So what, so this is the memo. One thing to just clarify, the action would be to go back to the capital project ordinance amendment that was on the consent agenda, because they typically go through hand in hand. Is that correct in the terminology? Is the motion inside of there?
So include the item from the consent.
And so, yes, include the item on the consent agenda to 10H in the motion.
Include that amendment.
So, just to be clear, I make a motion to approve the capital project ordinance for lab grants funds dated December 2nd, 2025, to be moved to the capital project ordinance amendment. Is that what I'm hearing you say correctly, sir?
To approve the Main Street Lab project, capital project ordinance amendment. So it is.
There's two amendments.
Yeah, so a mistake on my part is not having ordinance amendment, capital project ordinance. There should be amendment after ordinance amendment in my recommendation in the memo.
So a motion to approve the capital project ordinance amendment.
Yes, sir.
For lab grants fund dated December 2nd, 2025.
Yes, sir.
That is my motion, Mr. Mayor.
There's a second?
Second.
Okay, you'll call clerk. Who seconded that? Okay. Shan seconded it. So, just for clarity, I think I understand the motion is you're asking to approve 12A in our agenda package and
10H.
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 10H and 12A both.
10H.
Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Everybody clear on that?
Yes, sir.
All right. So I got a motion and a second. Is any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say what likewise? Not hearing any nays. The ayes have it, sounds like, and the ayes do have it, so motion approved. Thank you, appreciate that. And just provide us some updates on these final numbers, if you would, when we meet again in January. Okay, with that, we have no new business, and we'll go into the town attorney for communications. Anything you want to communicate to us, Dave?
Thank you, Mayor. I thought I had nothing, but because Commissioner Long had raised the question, the cap is 5% on public construction projects. So state law limits public construction to a 5% retainage for any construction project over $100,000. And then that 5% needs to be released. You can't continue that after the project is half done unless the contractor has been found at fault for not performing substantially accurately in accordance with the contract. So towns are limited in ways that a private party would not be.
Okay.
So 5% is the max.
Thank you.
Sure.
Any other things? Thank you, Dave. Appreciate it. Town manager, any updates other than this one we had?
You'll be mentioned in the Christmas parade and the tree lighting, most likely. Cool. So I won't see your thunder on that one. One thing that I wanted to just emphasize that went through on the consent agenda is that we've been working, the municipalities within Wake County, we've come together to try to make higher education accessible for people who want to make public administration and public service their career. And so through our collaboration and working with, it was initially NC State, but now with ECU, we've made an executive MPA program available for all employees that work within Wake County. And the price of that will be just above $10,000 for a master's in public administration.
How much?
$10,000.
$10,000.
So it's like $10,100. And so that's something that took a lot of collaboration to do because the cost of a master's degree is a lot. The good thing about the program there at ECU is that it is reputable, and they also have a very strong focus on local government and state government administration. And so it's something that'd be very, very beneficial. So we're looking forward to being able to make that available for all public servants within Wake County. There's something that we are very intentional on, is providing training for our staff. So that's something that we're very excited about. Next week, as you all know, I'm in Leadership, North Carolina. So next week I will be away for that fellowship on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday of the week. Stephen will be acting in my absence. And so I will be in Greensboro. I'll be available via Microsoft Teams, but they ask us to be pretty much immersed. This week is Education Week. I'm very excited about that, to learn about some of the things that are impacting us at the North Carolina and regional level, and to be able to bring more resources back to the town to help us make ground on that. But those are all of the updates. Outside of a personal one, I'll be participating in the Christmas parade on Sunday, and I want everyone to come out. It's a surprise as to how I'll be participating. Just know that I have a hobby, and I'll be out there with a lot of my friends, and we're going to be in the Christmas parade, and I'm excited to show up authentically within our community.
I just need clarity. Did you say a hobby? Hobbit? Or
a hobby.
Oh.
I have a hobby, thing that I like to do in my pastime that will show up in the Christmas parade.
Hobbits are short.
That's why I wanted to make sure.
I can't be a hobbit. I was born not a hobbit. So so that's the cliffhanger. The desire is for me to be more visible and be more in the community and have more fun. And so that's what we'll be doing on Sunday. And so I'm really looking forward to it.
Can't wait to get a view of
A video, whatever it is. Yes.
It's going to be 49 degrees.
Yeah, but this is what we love this time of year, though.
No we here, Kimosabi.
Raining Saturday and Monday.
The Lord is going to hold the cloud for us here in
Yes.
Rolesville. He's going to hold the cloud.
Chilly.
Hopefully we'll put heaters on too.
Anything else?
No, that's it. I appreciate it. And welcome.
I think the clerk, my understanding, wants us to discuss canceling the meeting for second meeting in December.
That's right. I wanted to inform the board that the town of Roseville currently has no items scheduled for December 16th work session. And I wanted to check with the board whether you wanted to hold the meeting or cancel it for the year.
We'll cancel. I vote to cancel. That's right at Christmas time.
It does require action of the
It
board,
does require
so
action.
I will call for a motion.
I'll make a motion that we will cancel the December 16th meeting.
Is there a second to that?
Second.
Okay, got a motion, second. Any further discussion? All in favor of canceling, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Ayes have it. Motion approved. So we're off the hook for the rest of this month, right? So be prepared. This will be a big meeting on January, I think.
So, may I ask a question? So, January 13th, this was a special meeting that, right, outside of like the normal meetings, right?
Yes.
Okay, because I wasn't anticipating that one, and I am to be out of town on that day. And I'm just stating it for the record. I don't know how that is handled, what's to be said or done about it, but I just wanted to state that I didn't realize that there was
Understand.
going to be that additional meeting. And I'm out of town for my business.
So that's January the 13th?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I leave that morning.
And what is the meeting focusing on?
CIP.
CIP.
CIP. So there's no voting?
There's no voting. And can you attend virtually, perhaps?
Perhaps.
Yeah.
Because it'll be at, what time, at 6:30?
Yeah.
Yeah, I should be able to.
If you can do that.
If you can't, then it'd be all filmed and video.
It'll be filmed,
So,
and then we can
if
we
there's
can
no
sit down
vote,
with
then you
you
can
and
review everything.
ensure.
Okay,
It'll at least be on YouTube.
yeah, I apologize. I just didn't have that in my foreseeable scope.
And also, we can work to get another date if you want to in that week. Or you, like, I'm not trying to do that, but I also want to inform you that we serve at the Pleasure, and so that's an approved date, and so you all can talk it through. Let us
Because
know.
I'm out of town then that Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
Okay.
So, I mean, I'm more than, if it works in everybody else's schedule, I'm more than willing to,
Okay.
you know, do it virtually or.
If you can do
catch up on the
virtually, we
video or
definitely have a
something
virtual.
If I'm, you know.
We have
unavailable.
Davenport coming in,
Mm-hmm.
and they already scheduled, Amy.
They already scheduled.
So we would have to do a date. We would have to get them, if we change it, we'll get them first and see
Yeah.
what date they can come. Let's explore that. If it looks like we could easily do that, let's do it and we can finalize it in January. But if not, we can videotape everything. Because they have to
We'll
be here. It's
explore
their
it.
presentation, I think.
We'll explore it.
Okay. So thank you for letting us know ahead of time, for sure. I think that kind of wraps us up, except for the board. The board has anything they want to add? Jennifer, glad having you on board, your first meeting. Is there anything you want to say to the public or anybody on the board?
No, I just, to the public, I so appreciate your votes and your trust in me, and I promise to hold true, to do my best, to work with my fellow council members, and just continue to build Rolesville in this fantastic direction that we're rolling into. So, looking forward to being part of the team here, guys. So thanks.
Yeah, thank you. Anybody else? Anybody else got a report?
Mr. Mayor, I do want to just make sure we shout out that our great officers are doing a Shop with a Cop coming up in December. If you have not filled out an application, I think it has closed. But please always show some love to the officers while they're out on that day shopping with those applicants. Also want to encourage a stop by to the fire station as part of the town. I was told that they have peppermint candy canes for people that stop by. So please stop by. And if they don't, they will have them now. And just show some love to our public safety. And lastly, Mr. Mayor, I'm privileged to be a part of this parade. I get the chance to MC it again on behalf of the board. So I'll be down at the corner of Main Street. So please come by and show me some love there with some hot chocolate because it is going to be cold. All right. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
They'll put on your thermal bibs.
It is. Y'all do a great job
That's
at that.
cowboy
And it's a new location this time. So
Yes, sir.
you have to
Yes,
kind
sir.
of experiment with that.
Yes, sir. Today marked, wow, how can we say this, sir? For the Rolesville High first ever Navy National Defense Cadet Corps inauguration ceremony that we attended this morning. The cadets, they put on a rifle display as well as they read their charter. And they had the Area 6 commander come down to give his awards to them. So it was very emotional for the parents. The parents was there. Some of them was very teary-eyed and emotional to see their kids because we know not everyone is going to go to college, but at least they have a secondary option of the military, even though they may not choose the Navy. Hope they go Army, beat Navy. But I'm glad to see them there, and it's been a long time coming. So it's good
Yeah.
to see that.
That's
Thank-
awesome.
Yeah, it
Great
is
job,
awesome.
man.
Thanks for all the work that's put in by Dan and others on the board and making that happen, and just thanks a lot for that. I think they told me this morning they have 31 in the program. This is the first year, first time. So that's a good number. They anticipating to have 40 next semester.
Yes, sir.
That's
class.
exciting.
So it's going to be a popular thing, I think. So it's a great program. So I'll finish up. I know some of you have heard this before, and I've talked to a lot of you, but this is the first kind of public thing, and we'll close after this. But just want to thank the majority of this board was here for the last 2 years. And just want to thank you guys for the great work you did. I think we have had some achievements that we accomplished in the last 2 years, so kind of want to give some shout out on that. We had the fire department merger or unification is called. That was a big thing. Worked on that for about 5 years. Pulled that together. Linwood did some work on that, and turned out, we got it done. We got a temporary fire chief, interim fire chief here. So it's under our umbrella, and there was a lot of hard work put in that, but we got it accomplished. We did land a 55 and over retirement community, about 505 homes, I think. That was something we worked hard on. Want to give a shout out to Michael Paul for his work on that. Did a great job on that, and I think everything is on go. So hopefully we'll finalize that in the next few months. Really picked up the activities in the last 2 years with the senior citizen activities in the Parks and Rec Department. I think y'all saw a presentation they did a few weeks ago. Paul Vilga was kind of liaison to Parks and Rec, and that turned out really good. Also, Michael Paul put a lot of thought into that, and he's on continued work on senior citizens. So very proud of what we did on that. Another one, the Veterans Center, Joel Center. I think she was here tonight.
Yes, sir.
So great landing that. I think that's coming on really quick. I think they will have some people, a building open in the next few weeks. So,
Yes, sir.
so great work on that. Big achievement. We did affordable housing plan and approved Habitat for Humanity. I think April. Affordable housing plan was kind of controlled by Sheila and Michelle before they left. And I think I asked April, and she graciously took over that effort. And we do have a plan. So one of the few towns I think in the county that has a plan, I believe, Eric, she was telling me. So we do have a plan. That was a great achievement. The official opening of Cobblestone, first people living there, first, even Jen has her place there. So that was fantastic. I think that was one of the brainchilds of Frank Eagles before he left. Walbrook, second grocery store, nice grocery store there. That happened. And then the Main Street, we talked about it all. That was a big accomplishment to get that open back up, and we're going to finalize that. That was a tough 2 years in working through that, but we did get it done. Some of the things, kind of talk to you guys about the new board taking on. A lot of people are excited about this first one. Actually, it's 12 things, and it's four sections: legislative, town services, economic development, and staff priority or direction. This is not all the stuff. This is kind of the stuff that's going to require the board to be behind, and it's going to take the board actually making it happen, I think. And one of them came up, and Michael and I talked about it on the show that we cut today. It'll be put out next week. Is a lot of people excited about the discussion of downtown parking and a downtown zone for parking and stormwater and that kind of thing. So that's one of them that's going to take a legislative work by this board to approve to do that. And I think we're on track to try to get something done. We need to do something with stormwater anyway, so it kind of works hand to hand with that. We don't have, one of the things we don't have in the CIP presently that I want to get Davenport kind of discussion and looking at it in the future. Amy and Davenport has to do with the Senior Citizen Center. I think we somewhat should have one, and we should, build one or either convert one or something. But that's something I at least want in the CIP where it shows up that we have, future plans that, we can get that started. Continue to talk about the watershed annexation. Frank used to talk about this one a lot. I've been talking about it for the last 6 years. I think Linwood even starting to talk about it now. It's been going on since 1992. So I don't know if we can make any progress, but it takes, Rolesville, Raleigh, and Wake County kind of coming together to decide some of that. I think it came up in one of our economic development meetings today. What about having an outdoor theater? Wouldn't that be neat? And, you don't see them around no more. Could that be in a watershed, good use of watershed, property? I had never thought about that, and somebody thought about that, outside door theater would be pretty cool. Town services. This one's a big one that I feel like we need a post office that serves all the residents, a standalone post office, not one in the shopping centers open a few hours a day, but, a real post office. So that's something I hope the board and we'll continue to support. Local veteran services, I know, talked to Dan, got Wake Med coming in. Maybe we can do some more with that. Maybe we can do some stuff that help support the Joel Center on that. Wake County Public Library, I think that's a done deal thing. They looking really, they got the budget, they got the dollars, so we need to make that happen next 2 years, hopefully. Economic development, this come up in our discussion, also today. You guys, be exciting to watch it. Restaurants and new retail is a big thing that I think, people want, so we need to support restaurants and new retail type things. I think Wake Med is coming. They got most of their approvals. We got to do some work. We got to do some work with the intersection, how to make it work, how to get Granite Falls Boulevard and Wake Med and what is it, Walbrook working together to do that. But Wake Med is coming. I think that's the next 2 years we can make sure we have that done. I talked about a new professional center. I think it's a lot of discussion on that already, but we don't have we got the new medical center. That's a professional center, but it's mostly medical. But I don't know if we got a professional center. The difference in that in a retail place like Jennifer does, you sell stuff. Retail, you sell things. Commercial center, you provide services. Stockbrokers and lawyers and those type things. So it's a professional center where we can have, and most of our professional people are in shopping centers, right?
And there's not enough of that
No.
kind of space, even that kind of space available. There are a number of professionals that I know of personally in Rolesville, and there is literally nowhere to go. And that was kind of the situation I was in too when I wanted to leave the shopping strip. There was nothing,
That's right.
and that's why I had to kind of
Not-
sit and bide my time.
And I think some of them would rather be in a professional center than a shopping center. So, and it opens up that space for somebody to sell in a shopping center. So that's something we'll look at. Michael has that on his radar. It's already been on our radar, but I'm hoping we get something happen in the next 2 years. You may see something like that. And then the last thing is just, make sure the board is providing Eric and the staff everything they can do on three things, which is our town campus first phase, which is fire department, police department, the site plan, and the Veterans Memorial site. So those four things, make sure. 2 years is aggressive, but I think we can get a lot done. We're making it have somebody moved in there in 2 years, I think. So that's kind of work on that. And anything we can do to help Eric and the staff as a board to make those quicker, I think we need to try to help them to get that done. I guess from your standpoint, Chief, Fire Chief, and Police Chief, the sooner the better, right? Sooner the better. So that's a big priority, I think. Farm activation. I know we don't have anybody from Parks and Rec here, but that'd be under April's going to be liaison to that. But we got $12 million plus thinking about spending on the park. That we put $12 million in the fund, and I think the staff is working hard to match that with some county stuff and state stuff, and maybe even $20 million improvement out there. 2 years from now, we should see some good progress if we kind of help facilitate that. And then the last thing I have on here is help the staff get a direction on our community center planning. It's a little bit different from our senior citizen. The community center is in the budget, is in the CIP, I think. It's a part of the CIP sitting out there. But I'm thinking there's opportunity to think about, where do we want it to end up at? Is that cobblestone originally, and then we put it, out there because we had nowhere else to put it in our complex. But be nice to keep it on Main Street if we can, for a community center. But I think in the next couple of years or next few months, we kind of talk about, where we put the community center at, where and when, maybe nail down the CIP. So it's a big undertaking. We won't get all these done. I know we've been trying to do the watershed for a long time in post office, and those are the ones that are less of our control. The other 10, I think, we have a lot of control over. But I think overall the board supports those initiatives, and I think the staff, your job, Eric, is try to communicate these things to the staff. I think it fits our sheet here. If you look on the sheet, I don't think it's anything outside of, our goals and stuff. So our plan. So I think it fits there pretty well. It's nothing crazy. So with that, I think I'm excited about next 2 years. We'll hit the road running in January, and we'll have a lot of work to do. Jen, you'll find out it takes a lot of work.
I'm ready for it.
Yeah. So welcome you on the board. Any closing thoughts or comments?
Oh,
Eric?
I do want to say, can I just say this? Sunday's a parade at 2 o'clock. Monday is the tree lighting at 5 o'clock. And Friday is Mingle on Main, I think 5:30 to 8:30, I think.
Yeah.
So we
Good
got some
point.
stuff coming up.
Thanks for bringing that up again. Eric, any closing? All right, good meeting. So I will adjourn without hearing any opposition. Not hearing any, we are adjourned. Thank you.